Next week, this time, the Caribbean Premier League will be done and dusted, and supporters of West Indies cricket will turn their focus to the subcontinent, especially and more importantly, India, where the West Indies Test team will play 2 Test matches against India. The last time West Indies beat India was in 1994, between December 11 and 14, 1994. West Indies batted first and posted a total of over 400 runs, with Jimmy Adams making 173 not out, and Cameron Coffey and Kenneth Benjamin both taking 3 wickets to restrict India to 300 plus. In the second innings, West Indies declared at 301 for 3, with Brian Lara getting 91 and Jimmy Adams again getting 98 not out. Kenneth Benjamin again took 5 wickets along with Courtney Wolf 3 as West Indies won the match by 243 runs between December 11th and 14th, 1994, 31 years ago. The closest West Indies have came to a victory since was in 2011 at the Wankhede Stadium. Setting India 243 to win the match, India closed off the final delivery of the match at 242 for 9. It was a draw. Although both scores were levered, it was a draw as India was not bowled out. They were 242 for 9. That's the closest West Indies have came to winning a match since. Hello everyone, and welcome to the #1 cricket channel in the Caribbean. I'm so happy to be here with you. I look forward to your comments as we review the West Indies Test squad for the tour of India. I will appreciate your feedback and I look forward to it much. Really, at the press release, Coach Sammy said, "Playing in the subcontinent always presents a challenge. We have selected a team to be competitive in these conditions," said Sammy. "This will be our second series together as a team, but we have already shown what we are capable of as a unit once we are committed to our brand and plans for the team." Now, one of the things that always struck me when these gentlemen are making these press releases, I always wonder if they are watching the same cricket that we are watching. I always wonder if they know something that we don't know. I always wonder if they don't recognize that you are more intelligent than them. And so when it comes with a press release like this, where the only part of it that is based on reality is the first part of the sentence. Playing in the subcontinent always present a unique challenge. That's the only part of the sentence that is based with reality. To be fair to Sammy, there's no team in the West Indies, no squad that you can select in the West Indies that can be competitive with the India Test team in India. Those players are just not available to him right now. So when he said that he has selected a team to be competitive in these conditions, doesn't he realize that we know that India will beat us and none of the matches will go into 4 days unless rainfall? We all hope that West Indies will win the series. But that is a hope. That is not based on reality. That is based on romance, the mystery of sport, the romance of sport, where the game has to be played. But once the game is played, we are not going to be competitive against India 99 out of 100 times in a test match. So when Darren Sammy is going to say that he select a team that we select a team to be competitive in those conditions, well, is he in India? Why he's saying these conditions? Shouldn't it be in those conditions? So where is this team is going to be competitive? Remember that before Australia, we have similar talk where he spoke about that we have gotten all the resources that we need to beat Australia. I can understand that a coach has to motivate his team, but that motivation also has to base on reality. You know, he probably could say we picked the team that we consider to be our strongest team at this time in the West Indies, and we're looking forward for the players to continue to improve. Just like how in the World Championships that is going on, you see people running their personal best. Mason yesterday from Jamaica ran this personal best. Bennett also ran his personal best. They came second and third. So what the coach should really be based on is realistic incremental improvement. There's no way the West Indies team is going to be competitive against India. And this positive toxicity must stop. Must stop. And I'm a West Indian fan. I want West Indies to win. So it's not that I'm a pessimist. It's that when you look at the two teams, when you look at what we have, batsmen who are averaging 10 runs to deliveries that pitch in a good era, how can we be competitive with that India team that we saw in England this year, especially in their home condition? So all I'm asking is here, Mr. Sammy, or I don't know if you contacted AI or your algorithm bot, but all I'm asking that, please, the viewers, the people of the Caribbean are more intelligent than you. Don't put out these type of press release, because there's no way the West Indies team is going to be competitive. There's no way we may expect the West Indies team realistically to be competitive in India. We hope they win, but we cannot realistically expect them to win. He continued by saying, the return of Tej Narayan Chanderpaul is to help transform our fortunes at the top of the order given the recent struggles. Well, I hope that works out. I really, really hope that works out. Because clearly, Darren Sammy have not watched Tej Narayan Chanderpaul batted in his last 10 test matches. He has not passed 40 in his last 10 test matches. I do not have any issue with the recall of Chanderpaul. We all know that he is presently playing in the US minor league, and he has not scratched his age in that tournament since it started 3 weeks ago. We know that as an opener, although he only played 3 matches in the West Indies regional first class season this year, 3 matches, I think, because of injury, his average of 46 is probably the second or third highest average of anyone that is not in the squad. So when you look at it, you may ask yourself, if not Tej Narayan Chanderpaul, who? Because that's a legitimate question. But to say that Chanderpaul is going to transform our fortunes at the top of the order, given our recent struggles, once again, is not based on reality, but it's based more on hope. With Alec Athanaze being added for his strength and qualities against spin bowling, Carrie Pierre is included for the first time as our second spinner in what we expect to be helpful conditions. Therefore, Ruston Chase is playing as a batsman. So Carrier is there to back up Jamel Warrican. So there's Sammy now. So all that talk about 3 months ago when the squad was picked for Australia, that Chase, because of his all-round ability and his ability to bowl, was given the captaincy, and that's why he was included, because he's picked more for all-rounder than a batsman. Darren Sammy throw that out of the window right now, because there he's saying that Carrier is our second spinner. So what is really going on? When are we going to get some consistency from these gentlemen? Is it that, again, they don't realize that you are more intelligent than them? That they think they can just flip-flop from one series to another, from 1 week to another? When Chase was appointed captain, there was this big deal, make of it, that he's there because of his all-round ability and his ability to contribute his off-spin. But here is now, Carrier is included as the second spinner. Not the third spinner, the second spinner. So really and truly, we want to hear from the West Indies coach. We want to hear from the director of cricket and the captain. And by the way, tomorrow morning, there'll be a press conference, which is good. It is very good. And, you know, you have to congratulate yourself on this one, because you have been insisting that they have these press conferences after they select the team so that you can ask them questions. So you have to congratulate yourself on this one. Well done. Well done. So tomorrow morning, there'll be a press conference. Let's hear what Miles Bascom has to say at the press release of the squad. Our approach to squad selections continue to be calculated and deliberate. Well, that is good. That is expected. I don't expect the West Indies selectors to just throw players' name in a hat, spin it around and come out with some names. I expect that it will be calculated and it will be deliberate. So that is good. We consider the opposition, the playing conditions, and the skill set required to be successful against specific oppositions. He was doing very well enough. We consider the opposition nice, the playing conditions nice, and the skill sets required to be successful against specific oppositions. That is not also bad enough, because he never said that. That's good so far. That's good so far. That is good. The inclusion of players has therefore been guided not only by their recent performances, and maybe that's why Tej Aaron Chanderpaul is there. I do not have any issue with this press release thus far. Because although he said the skill set required to be successful against specific opposition, it's another way of saying that we are picking the team that we will expect to give us the best opportunity to win. The best opportunity to win. So that's a totally different thing from what Darren Sammy was saying. Let's hear again from Miles Bascom as he continues. So, but also by identify who within our pool is best to deliver positive results on these surfaces. Again, they're probably in India. You recall that after the Australian Test Series, Miles Bascom had said that we are going to get the team in India early, those who are not participating in the CPL. What came of that? Are any West Indies players in India at this moment? I don't know. To deliver positive results on these services against quality opposition, well, he dare now gone down the road of Darren Sammy. Because what is positive result against India? What is this positive toxicity? You know, we have to be careful, you know. We have to be realistic. And while as supporters of the West Indies team, we want to win. But realistically, if both teams play to their best, none of these matches are going into the fourth day. At the same time, we are conscious of building continuity and depth in our test squad as we look to compete consistently throughout this World Test Championship. Well, I do hope so. You know, I look for incremental improvement. Now, let's take a look at the squad. So that's the West Indies squad there. Roston Chase, Jamel Warrican, Kevlin Anderson, Alec Atanase, John Camber, Tej Narayan, Chanderpaul, Justin Greaves, Shea Hope, Tevin Imlach, Alzara Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Brandon King, Anderson Phillips, Carrie Pierre, and Jaden Seals. That is the West Indies 15-man squad. Now, as I look at that squad, there's one thing that we must be conscious of and be realistic of, is that Darren Sammy's first test squad, from that first test squad, 12 of those players are included in his second test squad. 12 of them. Now, we cannot reasonably expect that after he picked his first test squad, then he will make wholesale changes to his second test squad. So it's not surprising that 12 of those players remain in the test squad. I don't think many persons will disagree or have a sleepless night over the dropping of Craig Brathwaite. One would say, how is Chanderpaul better than Craig Brathwaite? But I just, but it's just one of those things where you just have to try someone else. Casey Carty should not have been selected in the first place over someone like Alec Atanase or Kavim Hodge to play against Australia. He should not have been there. I think Darren Sammy was fooled by Casey Carter's performances in one-day international cricket and didn't look at his performances in Test cricket. So again, I am not surprised that Casey Carty have been left out. Ewan Lane, well, I understand the decision to leave out Ewan Lane. When the West Indies test squad was named in the West Indies, they selected 16 players. I questioned then why 16 players were selected for our home series. I have no issue with Ewan Lane because I think that he's a fifth best fast bowler in the West Indies. When I see Ewan Lane, I see Jaden Seals in 2021. And we are just hope that his progression continues along the right pathway. So I did not have an issue with Ewan Lane being included in the test squad. And if he was included for the subcontinent, I still would not have an issue. However, I don't think that he's ahead of the 4 fast bowlers that were selected, and you should not really, you don't need to carry 5 fast bowlers to the subcontinent, clearly. So I do not have an issue with Ewan Lane being left out. The next batsman was Mikel Louis. And really and truly, we saw that Mikel Louis was at sea against Australia. I think he barely got into the team, and then he was so disappointed. And we understand why those 4 players were left out. And the issue that in the West Indies, we selected 16 players. But when we are going far away to India, we have only selected 15. I would have loved for us to select 16 also, because I would have loved to included a leg spinner, right-arm leg spinner into the squad. No, but I wondered, because at the time you would have been aware that I questioned why were they 16 players selected for our home series? Why not 13? After all, you are at home. And usually in the past, what would happen? We would have selected 13 players. And when we go to the different territories, like you go to Barbados, you will have a Barbadian doing the emergency fielding. So you'll have 13 players. So West Indies would only travel with 13. and then there'll be a player selected from the country where they are to do the emergency fielding. I think that it was a waste of money selecting 16 players for a squad in a home series when you're at home and you can chop and change from match to match. But now that we are going far away, we choose to select 15. I don't understand these rationale. Only Cricket West Indies can explain these rationale. So I have no issue with Alec Athanaze returning to the squad. Would I have selected Tej Narayan Chanderpaul? It's something that I considered very long and hard. And then if it's not Tej Narayan Chanderpaul, who else? When you look at the numbers, you know, he's probably selected based on the fact that he has test experience. You do not want to go back to Brathwaite. Mikel Louis is at sea. You know, if you choose someone like Jonathan Drakes, you'd probably want him to repeat the series that he has this year. So who else would you have picked? Who is in the academy that could have stepped up and you say, we are going to invest in this person for the next 10 years as an opener for the West Indies test team? Because certainly you do not want someone like Brandon King to go and open the innings. You know, so if not Tej Narayan, who? And then Carpier, having taken 41 wickets in the regional first class series, I do not have an issue with Carpier being selected. I know the Gudakesh Moti fans are saying that Gudakesh Moti should be there, but try and justify for me why Gudakesh Moti should be in the West Indies test squad. Please, just don't say Gudakesh Moti should have been there. Try and justify why Gudakesh Moti should have been in the West Indies test squad. So, in all, I have a poll in the live chat where I'm asking how many changes would you make to this squad. For me, I would not make any change because I don't see anyone to be included. Persons might think that you need to add another spinner, but who is that other spinner? You cannot go for another left-arm orthodox spinner. Maybe you could leave out Anderson and add Kavim Arch because he can bat and also bowl left-arm spin because you are going to India and you are expecting some surfaces that are going to turn. They are not going to make the same mistake that they made against New Zealand last year. So you are expecting these surfaces to be turning. So you maybe could have included Kavim Arch instead of Anderson Phillip. He would add strength to the batting and he will also provide this left-arm spin. But that would be a third left-arm spinner. What you really need is a leg spinner. And who is that right-arm leg spinner that you would add if you are leaving out Anderson? I really think that these 4 fast bowlers are our best 4 fast bowlers in the region at this time, coupled with Yuan Lane, I think is in the number 5th position. No issue selecting Warrican and Carripier. And although Darren Sammy said that Carripier is a second spinner, we know that Chase is going to bowl some overs and he's going to need to bowl a lot of overs because if Chase is not bowling, then would need someone like Kevin Sinclair, who we saw in Pakistan, was driving the ball into the surface and was getting a lot of bite and getting the ball to do a lot of things in Pakistan when we won that series. Those are my comments on the West Indies squad. I will not make any change to this squad on the face of it. Let's put it this way. I do not have an issue with this squad that is selected. Tej Narayan Chanderpaul, there's a question mark over him. But apart from him, I do not have an issue. And again, I'm saying, if not Tej Narayan Chanderpaul, do we go back to Craig Brathwaite? That is probably a viable option, go back to Craig Brathwaite, maybe. But all in all, I would not make any changes to this squad. Let me hear your comment now as look forward to your comment. So I know that Sheldon Smith should be here now because he should be very happy that someone like Carripier have been included. Glenn Canberra, it's a long time I haven't seen you, man. I haven't seen you in the chat and I haven't seen you in our group, in our WhatsApp group, and I hope you are well. I trust that you are well. good morning. The ghost them leave Sabina from we made 27. Good morning, Glenn Campbell, but I don't quite understand that one. I don't understand that one, Glenn Campbell. I hope that you will help me to understand that one. But I don't understand that one, Glenn Campbell. I'm sorry about it. I don't understand that one. So Glenn Campbell is saying that Sammy have no idea what competitive means. He should just say take part. Well, maybe something like that. I can understand persons who are saying that he needs to motivate his team. But in motivating your team, you need to be also realistic in motivating that team. The gentlemen, they also are sensible. They also look at the numbers. They know what they're struggling with. So he has to motivate his team, but I just think it was positive toxicity. That's what I look at it. I would not be surprised if India makes a batting-friendly pitch. Give me more while you say that the champion, because that's an interesting perspective. So give me more, please. I would like to hear some detail on that comment. My good friend, TV and Cricket Power Play, how you doing, man? Good morning to you and your family and your beautiful wife. It's a pleasure having you here, man. And I always said, big up my friend Elton in Florida, and check out TV and Cricket Power Play. And if you have anything that you want to live stream in Florida, TV and Cricket Power Play and TV and Studio is the place to contact. And please remember to click on our links in the video description for the Cricket Forum stores, our Samsung stores, our Nike stores, among others. So please check out our links in the video description. We look forward to your support. Good morning to you, Sheldon. What did Tage do to return to the side? He could barely make Guyana team, said Sheldon Smith. And Sheldon Smith, I did say a few moments ago, there's a question mark, but if not Tage, who? When I look at all the openers, and when you look back at the numbers from this year regional 4-day tournament, his average was in the top 10, and I think everybody with a higher average than him is in the squad who you would pick, probably apart from Brathwaite. But if you look at Tage, his last, say, 20 test innings, he has made 36 only once. His next highest score to that is 33 and 24. He has scores like 15, 10, 1, 2, 0, 6, 4, 21. Those are the type of scores that Tage Narayan has in his last set of test matches. And he was dropped for that. And so it's a legitimate question that Sheldon is asking. And that is why, although looking at the squad, I will not make any changes from it, because I think that I wouldn't make any changes from it. I don't think that if I was picking the squad originally, before West Indies named this squad, I don't see myself including Tage Narayan in my squad. And in all honesty, I would have preferred to go back to Craig Brathwaite more than to go back to Tage Narayan. That is my view. Maybe, I don't know if there are some issues with Craig Brathwaite, but the last test match that West Indies won was in Pakistan, and Craig Brathwaite made a half century in that match, and that was just 4 test matches ago. It's a tricky one, but to be fair, Sheldon, Tage Narayan have done nothing to earn a recall. And I just think it's one of those left field pick where every coach is entitled to. But I would not have picked him. But however, now that he have been picked, who should we pick instead of him? I don't know, Sheldon Smith. But you do ask a legitimate question, and it's a legitimate point, and it's a legitimate concern. What has he done to be recalled? Who did Joshua da Silva cuss, said Sheldon Smith. You will have to tell us, Sheldon, because we don't know. And I have always made the point, and this is something that I should have brought up with Mile Bascom when I had that interview with him, but somehow it slipped me. If I have a player, and I'm telling you, I am not Joshua da Silva's favorite person. Joshua da Silva don't like me. I can tell you that. But I'm far more mature than him. If I have a player who is dropped from the West Indies team, and when that player is dropped, that player came back to the regional tournament and made over 500 runs with 3 centuries. That's Joshua da Silva. That is the sort of attitude I want for a player, from a player. That is the sort of attitude why I would recall such a player to my team, because he showed guts, fortitude, resilience. That I am dropped, but I'm going to show you that you should not have dropped me. And he came back, scored more than 500 runs. The second leading run scorer in our tournament. And if memory serves me right, he never played in the first 2 matches. And he turned out to be the second leading run scorer. For the life of me, I cannot understand why Joshua da Silva is not in this squad. So Sheldon, the concern about Joshua da Silva is a legitimate concern, because I cannot understand why he's not in the squad. I think that he should be in the squad. Definitely, I think that he should be in the squad. Compare Joshua da Silva to Tej Narayan Chanderpaul, who Sheldon rightly pointed out can hardly make the West Indies, the Guyana team. And he's recalled. After being dropped, he has not scored a century since being dropped, and he has been recalled. But yet still, a man who has been dropped and scored 3 centuries has not been recalled. So one has to say, let that make sense. In all honesty, the only thing that Joshua da Silva, we do not see him as an opener. And Tej Narayan is seen as an opener. And many of us believe that opening in a test match cricket is a specialist position. And you can see why Tej Narayan Chanderpaul was called back to open. But how can you call back Tej Narayan Chanderpaul and don't call back Joshua da Silva, who respond to being dropped in a fantastic manner? It's something that baffles me. I'm telling you, Sheldon. So that's a good point about, yeah. Good morning, Patrick Davey. Patrick Davey is considered the best groundsman in Jamaica. How are you doing? It's a pleasure. She's doing well. Yes. So you not play Chanderpaul. Yeah, and I made the point that Chanderpaul is playing in the US minor league, and I think 4 rounds, it's 3 or 4 rounds of that tournament have been completed, and he has not yet made his age. Yeah, but all of our batsmen are weak to good deliveries, Sheldon. They are weak. You not have left out Morty, but it's all right to say that you not have left out Morty, Patrick. But justify why would you select Morty? Tell me why. I would not have selected him. So convince me why you would select Morty. Because I'm not going in with 3 left-arm orthodox spinner. And for me, in Test cricket, and I'm saying here Test cricket, Gary Peer, due to his performances in the regional 4-day tournament, and Jamel Warrican, due to his consistent performances both in regional 4-day cricket and in Test cricket, both are ahead of Gudakesh Motie. I want to make a point about Gudakesh Motie though, because person will look back at that series in Zimbabwe, and said that he got 13 wickets and blah, blah, blah. But that was long ago. Should we still be picking Brian Lara for his 400? Lara plays some club cricket over the weekend, so maybe he's trying to get back into the West Indies team. And so once he's playing cricket, maybe we should recall him because he has 400 runs. Or maybe we should call Courtney Walsh. He has more than 500 test wicket, you know. So, yes, Gudakesh Motie got those wickets in Zimbabwe. In fact, in my opinion, Gudakesh Motie should not have been played in that match. But nonetheless, he played and got the wickets. But I think that after suffering that back injury, Gudakesh Motie has not been the same person that he is in Test cricket. You know that especially in Test cricket now, and I was told that I must stop give out coaching point. But in Test cricket especially, separate to T20 cricket and one-day international cricket, you need to have your body. You need to use more of your body in your bowling action. And it could be that since that back injury in Test cricket, the left arm is not coming past, is not passing the right hip in his delivery stride. And he's not getting the same bite as he was getting before then. So I clearly would not have Gudakesh Motie in the team, but one has to study if it's because of the back injury why he's not that effective in Test cricket again. But please give me your view why you would get him in the team. I think they might go with a batting pitch because they know it's an easy win for them and wouldn't mind score a heap of runs against us. That could be true. That could be true because they are looking at the numbers just like you and I, you know, the champion. They are looking at the numbers. They probably look at it more than I, and they're looking at it and say, look at that West Indies team. All we have to do, you know, man, is pitch consistent line and length, and they won't make 300. They won't make 250 because these guys cannot bat balls on a good line and a good length. The record show it. It's not me. The record shows that balls that pitch on a good line and a good length, that is between middle stump and fourth stump, hitting the top of half stump, anywhere from that 5 to 7 meter length, they are in trouble. They are not averaging. So you're right. They could say we can pile up some runs against these guys and build our stats because we're going to knock them over anyhow. Orlando Popo is saying, boy, no matter who we pick, it is highly probable that we will get a job in. I agree with you, and it doesn't mean that Orlando Paul is not a supporter of West Indies cricket, you know. It doesn't mean that Orlando Paul doesn't want West Indies to win the Test series because he will be very happy, just like you and I. We will be very happy if West Indies win the Test series. But realistically, we are not going to win. However, Lord Orlando Paul, when we are selecting a team, we want to try and select our best squad. And Sheldon makes a very good point. You know, we cannot hide from the point. So we cannot hide behind the fact that players are being selected and we cannot see the performances to justify their selection. And maybe, you know, not because our favorite player has been selected, because this is a line that is taken by persons who, when their favorite player is selected, just to try and cover their favorite player. And I'm not saying that Orlando Paul is doing this, but this is a line that is taken. No matter who get picked, we are going to criticize them. Because what? They cannot defend the selection of their favorite player. Good morning to you, Athena. It's a pleasure being here. I watch him in the IPL and he's getting wicked. That is why. But Patrick David, that's the point I am making, that playing in T20 cricket and playing in white ball cricket and red ball cricket, when you're playing in red ball cricket, you required more action on the ball and you required your body to be involved in the action more. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I'm pleased asking you to check out our stores in the video description. If you are not seeing them, just click and read more or more, and then you'll see the links to our store in the video description. Please support the channel. Athena, yes, there will be a press conference tomorrow morning, Athena. So, and I was saying at the start that there will be a press conference, and you guys in this community must take credit because this is something that you have been calling for. So you must take credit for there will be a press conference tomorrow morning, and you have been calling for a press conference after every team is selected. So Cricket West Indies have listened to you guys in this community. Take credit. You have done well again. And that's why when we unite as a community, we will get these guys to raise their standard. We will get the players to raise their standard if we stop finding excuses for mediocrity. We must hold them accountable. And I strongly believe that West Indies should disband all retainer contract unless these guys meet a certain standard. Earn your pay. Just don't get paid. Just don't get paid for pay's sake, but earn it. Just like how in any business, you have to earn your pay. Thank you all for tuning in. Check out our links in the video description. Have a wonderful day. I will see you later for the match between Guyana Amazon Warriors and the St. Lucia Kings. It's the qualifier number 1 for CPL 2025. Take care. Until then, be good to yourself. Take care of your families. Take care of your loved ones. Big up yourself.